So yesterday I asked about doing some homework. So first of all, the reason why I'm doing this, I'm loving this. It's like, I got the beard. Few people have pointed out the longer it gets, the more lukey it gets. I'm very happy with it being lukey. And then this, which is like, I'm Optimus Prime, but at the same time, I'm a big blue Jedi. I'm turning the thing round so I can't see it. YouTube's been a bit weird lately. Lots of people have complained about YouTube. Anton did a remarkable video lately about our YouTube videos dying, in which he just pointed out some basic bits that you might want to think about doing to make your videos a bit more worth watching. And unusually, in a beautiful way, when I sat there and said, but I don't know how to do this and how to do that, Anton sat there and he went, well, that's easy. All you need is XYZ, and suggested an app for my phone that I can use. I've got a new phone coming, so the new app on the new phone's going to make a big difference. It's nice. The community thing's coming out again. That's what I'm trying to say. The community thing's coming out again. Zort Rider doesn't do Facebook, but wants to be involved. Anton is bang into his YouTube again. He's inquisitive about YouTube and he wants to make YouTube better. It's lovely jubbly. I, personally, enjoy doing it, and I need to get back to doing it, and I remembered that I needed to get back to doing it the other day when it was Bisto the man himself, who sat there because someone was talking about, someone was on there talking about numbers, and they were just probably a teenager, because I'm sorry, but most of you teenagers seems to be this way now. You just want to be famous, but famous for nothing. And you went, but what if you're not getting loads of numbers? What's the point in doing it? At which point Visto turned around and just said, because I like the people that interact on my page and it causes us to have a conversation. And if I make a video and 5 or 6 people make me do a reply, and it forces another conversation, and another conversation becomes like ripples on a pond, doesn't it? And it all spreads out. So I asked yesterday on the TFYTC page, if you go on Facebook and just put in the Transformers YouTube community in the search bar at the top, you'll come up with it and you can join in the fun. When did you get into it? What was the landmark thing that you did to get into it? Because I've got two quite distinct moments in my collecting. When I was a child, I'm 43 now, so when Transformers came out, I was old enough, probably a little too old if I'm honest, because I even still like toys. Toys are a weird one, because you play with toys when you're 8, and then when you're 12 it's like, you shouldn't like toys, you should like computer games and football, and it's like, well, I still like the toys, just let me do what I want to do. It's not so easy when you're a kid to either to conform or to not conform, because there are, you know, I liked toys. I had loads of them, used to line them up in the living room, and just boop boop, Transformers, I liked them. And then I discovered, about 13 or so, Friends came along, Boobs came along, Skates came along, and just didn't even sink it all in. Didn't watch the 86 movie until I got back into Transformers. The 86 movie that I watched, I bought for like $4.99 from HMV, because I was like, they've made a film? You're joking! And once upon a time, I was looking for a present for a friend, and I was in Toys R Us, and I wanted to buy a Star Wars vehicle, which was always something I took great pleasure in doing. Because a trip into Toys R Us to buy a Star Wars vehicle gave me license to go and touch all the toys and play with all the crap, and I was just like, this is something I really enjoy. Make sure it's still working, yes. So I went to Toys R Us, and I'm just perusing, I'm looking. And on the way, the Transformers were in the aisle before the Star Wars stuff, so I had to walk past, and this is when they were reissuing G1. Not my favourite thing, G1, but when you're getting back into it and the last thing you remember is G1, then I guess at the time I was a G1er, because the rest of it didn't really exist, and I hadn't seen any of the Unicron trilogy. Saw a G1 Jazz reissue, saw a Starscream reissue in Toys R Us, and just piqued my attention. I just But I went and bought a toy. I bought a Millennium Falcon for my friend's boy, which was a lot of money. But because I think I got emotionally invested in it, I got to go and play with the Falcon when we opened it up, and then I got to walk away and not take it away with me because I didn't have the space. It all worked out in the end. But I went back. And I just looked. I didn't buy one, I just looked. And it just tickled that little bit inside of me that was just like, this is something that you really used to like. Ben's collectibles, without talking all about all the bad stuff. Ben got back into toys because there's a little part of his soul that needed to still be into toys. Because what he was doing as an adult didn't suit him at the time, and there was a part of him that just needed the release of being into toys. And I have that same thing. Whether it be painting Warhammer or transforming Transformers or doing this and talking about toys and interacting with people about toys. Anyway, once upon a time, went into Toys R Us just because I like it from time to time. And there it was, MP01, the Hasbro one with all the battle damage, which I'd still quite like the super clean one again one day, but he's really expensive. I like the orangey paint Takara one. And I saw it and I picked it up and it was heavy. It was really heavy. He's heavy. He's got loads of die cast. His proportions are a bit weird. But I saw it and I didn't buy it. And I left. And that thing swilled around my head for ages. Because I think it was about £60. Which £60 to buy on a toy is a lot of money. When you're into the scene and you know what you want, £60 isn't actually that much money. 60 quid gets you an average third-party toy. But when it's 10 years ago and you're not buying toys and you've got bills and debt and responsibility and you've got to be at work on Monday because you've got to afford to put petrol in your car to get there, and 60 quid's a lot of money. When you haven't got a little pot put aside for that sort of thing, when you're spending your money on other stuff. But I just couldn't go without it. I had to go and get it. So I went and got it, and I opened it, and it came to work with me. The job that I was doing at the time meant I sat against a wall and it was one of those triangular desks where 3 other triangular desks would fit together, and I had those little wall partitions that go off in between. Probably one of the most oppressive places that I've ever worked in my whole life. It was absolutely hideous, but to make it better, MP01 came to work with me, and he stood there on the desk for quite some time. And everyone thought I was nuts to start with, but after a little while I just realised that it was a call centre. It wasn't a call centre, but it was a call centre. That was essentially what I was doing. And when things got bad, I just sat and I just turned. One day he was a truck, and one day he was a robot, and then one day he was a truck, and one day he was a robot. And because it was one of these things that I absolutely hated more than anything, and because there was only 9 people that worked in the office, I didn't have to worry about him getting stolen or anything like that. The place was secure. It wasn't one of these places where you got 50 people and you don't really know what's going on, and there's new turnover all the time. Someone new coming into the business was quite a big deal, so it was safe, it was cool, it was fine. My boss didn't like me fiddling with it, but then the more I fiddled with the toy, the better I was at the job, because it took away the angst of being there, it took away the hatred of being there more than anything. And I think that's kind of where it all started from, that I really learnt to appreciate the internal value, the soul value of me liking, not specifically Transformers, but just whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars or Transformers or robots in general or old science fiction or it's Battlestar Galactica, all of that stuff. I just like having a physical representation of it in my hand. I'd love that. That's what it is. I'm just a tactile kind of guy. I just like having... I've always wanted stuff around with me, and if it wasn't one kind of stuff, it's another kind of stuff. It's a really big thing. Anyway, later on, after a little while, I got a promotion. I went to a different office. I was doing some different stuff. And the 2007 movie was coming out. And the leader class Optimus Prime was there. And at that time I was on the Moonbase 2. I was on the forum, which I could get on at work. So the only thing I could get on at work. Maybe that explains a lot. But I was on it. It was good. It was fun. It was nice. That's kind of where I met everyone in the first place, Bubs and all that lot. That was the G1 of my robot collecting. I said to the guy who I was working with, there's only 2 of us in the office together, can you cover for me? And he went, why? And I said, look, I don't really slack off. I don't piss about much. I really want to go buy something for Toys R Us, and I don't think the hour I've got for lunch is long enough to go and get it. If I'm 10 minutes late back, can you cover for me? And it turns out he did. He had to lie for me. But I went, and I was an hour and 45 minutes. Because I hated the job. And if I got fired, it was just... I know it's important to do these things, and I've just said that sometimes you've got to put food on the table and fuel in the tank, but ultimately if your soul is being slowly eaten away by the job that you do, you're not going to give it all your best, are you? So I went and bought this toy, and it turns out the 2 of us didn't do anything because I refused to read the instructions, and the guy that I was working with, Steve, when he saw that I'd bought a Transformer, when he finished laughing at me it's funny, isn't it? He finished laughing at me. He's like, fuck's sake, Dave, you're a grown adult. What are you doing? What are you playing at? And I'm like, well, I like them. Shut your face. But then after a couple of minutes of, you lot bought a Transformer, the first thing he was going was, well, I used to have loads of these when I was a kid. Can I have a go at transforming it? I've never met a Transformer that I couldn't transform. And I said to him, well, this isn't as easy as the ones like in G1. It's not going to be... No, I want to do it. And he couldn't do it, so he gave it to me, and I wouldn't read the instructions. And we wasted the entire afternoon playing with this toy. And still, right now, for all of the crap that I've got over there, and there, and some over there, Emily's given me a cold. Sorry. That was the gateway drug. That was literally the very visceral moment of going from buying the occasional toy to I bought the leader class, and then I saw some of the other toys while I was there, and I realised that I was going to get them all. I was going to get the line. Because if I was going to get one, that would be a bit weird. But if I got all of them, then I was just... That turned it from one toy into a collection, into a body of work, so to speak, if I was an artist. I still fondly really remember that afternoon not doing the work that we were supposed to be doing. I still remember getting told off by my big boss as well, because that afternoon clearly was underproductive. And I do remember quite clearly lying to them, because I gave some bullshit excuse why I hadn't done it, and what I'd really done is gone and bought a toy. So there you go. I went and bought an MP01, which got me into buying, it opened the door to buying more. And then I went and bought a leader class Optimus Prime from Transformers, a 2007 live action movie. And that was the first time I went from being a man-child that likes toys. Even when I went around other people's houses, I would always play with their kids' toys, whether it be Matchbox or Lego. And that was the moment I went from being a casual observer of that sort of stuff to being Dave, the man who likes doing all of this tap. And when I did YouTube, obviously, which is just the beginning of the end. My name has been SMS number 1. I'm wearing a big blue hood. On my hood is a picture of Optimus Prime's face. It's got a beautiful big Autobot logo on the back. TFYTC homework. The house move has been horrible. Just life for the last 2 months has really been about as much as I can bear, and now we are through the difficult bit and getting into some focused fun. Christmas is coming. Going to buy a Christmas tree. Got a job starting on Monday.